Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Joey Wilcox. I'm sitting here with Coach Tracy Welch. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what we're talking about last night. Last night's game was a tough loss, but I think there's a lot to say, a lot that we discerned from last night.
Well, I think it's kind of like the Bridgeport game from last year. We came out and played a little flat there early. The thing I was proud of, Joey, is the kids kept playing, the coaches kept coaching, and we just kept working. And, we're in a preseason mode right now. We're trying to get ourselves better, going up against a good Sanger team that is very big, very powerful. Got that big running back in there. Anytime you play a team where the coach's son is the quarterback, and this is the second year to start, they've got a good captain, a good leader out there in the field as well. So I was a little disappointed in things last night, but at the same time, our kids kept playing well. We kept fighting. We kept struggling. It was a good hard-fought battle. It shows that we're not going to give up and quit and roll over for someone.
Oh, yeah. And last night, I think that the big thing that was noticing just looking at the game last night, we found ourselves in a hole early on. But the thing you didn't see, and I know we talked about this last week, in the turn of the tide of what we seen 2 years ago, where kids just would hang their head right from the get-go, the Bullfrogs really battled back in this game, and they were fighting from behind the whole time, but you saw them just continue to grind, and especially the defense, trying to really find themselves. We're fighting back. Wellborn being a 6'3", 245-pound running back, that's no easy running back to go against for anybody. The Bullfrogs, I thought, were trying really, really hard to contain that and trying to stop him. He seemed like he was a one-man show last night, and we were just really trying to get wrapped around that.
I thought he is a good football player. He's very powerful. He's strong. He'll be a fullback, H-back, not fullback, tight end, H-back type of a youngster in a college scheme. We had several colleges there last night watching this, and definitely see why. He's got some good athletes, and we've got some good athletes as well. I thought they're a good 1-2 punch with the Wellborn kid and the smart quarterback. You play action you fake it to Wellborn, and you get your kids going that way, and then the quarterback keeps it off the backside over here. And I thought he ran hard. I thought good 1-2 punch there with those two youngsters. At the same time, we're still trying to find the right combination in there on defense. We didn't from March until June, and then we even had a little hiccup there in June at the 1st of July with the COVID stuff. So we didn't get much of a spring with these youngsters, and the kids we did work hard. We pushed the weights hard, and et cetera, and I'm very, very proud of our coaches, and I'm proud of the way our kids are working right now, trying to get their bodies in shape. But a football season is a grind, and it's hard. You got to push yourselves. At the same time, we're still trying to find the right defensive players, and we got some positions on the offense as well. We're still looking for that right combination. I think we're getting better. I think we're getting stronger. But mentality-wise, last night we went in with a focus of being relentless. And sometimes obstacles are what you see when you get your eyes off your goal. And anytime you get down by 3 scores, it's easy to get your eyes off your goal. And focus on those obstacles. And the obstacles last night was the scoreboard being 0-20. And I thought our kids did a good job of not focused on that. Our offense kept plugging, started finding some things. I thought Coach Reed did a good job last night of working it, a good mix-up in there, short routes, deep routes, running the ball. I thought Brennan Forrest really stepped in and did a good job running the ball for us. We made some personnel changes in the tight end position, trying to let some kids get some more rest. We're playing with some young kids, and we just got to keep finding the right 1-2 combination, and I think we're getting better.
Yeah, I truly believe that. On offense last night, you said Brandon Forrest. I thought last night the youngster had a really, really great game against a defense that was trying to read that run off of him, but had found himself being able to have his eyes downfield and find and make the right cuts he needed to. He had a couple of decent long runs there. I think his longest run last night was about 17 or 18 yards. But still, he picked up a number of yards there. How do you feel about him in that role as a running back and where his development's headed towards?
I was very pleased. And matter of fact, we had when the game was over, I had the phone call and the bus ride home. Who's that youngster you got at tailback? At the same time, Joey, we've got five sophomores. Last night with him starting in an offensive line, starting at running back, we've got 5 sophomores starting for us right now. I'm sorry, 4. So I'm proud of those way those kids are playing, but we've just got to have the maturity. We got to keep growing, and because of the situation this year, we only got 1 scrimmage. We got the 1 scrimmage early, then we came against Castleberry, then we came back last week, and last week was the first ball game. This is our second ball game, and when you got they're doing a good job. They're fighting. They're striving to get better, but you got to have playing experience. And Matthew Welch at center. He's big. He's 6'4", 275, 80 pounds. Then we got Hector Garcia at right guard, about 300 pounds. Brian Neal at tight end, and then last night we had Brandon Forrest tailback. That's 4 sophomores. So proud of those kids are working. I thought Caleb did a good job of being a leader out there and staying positive. Receiving corps did a great job last night. Every one of them did, and I'm very proud of those youngsters. Throwing, catching. I think we had 420 yards passing again last night. Had some drops again, but we had 420 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. So, we just got to keep focused. We got to be relentless. And what does relentless mean? I pulled up the definition, went through it with the kids last night in pregame, went through it again at halftime. Relentless means you don't get tired. You stay focused. Relentless of not getting tired, of not getting your eyes off your goals, not getting focused on obstacles, those type of things. And that's where we're at right now as a program. Because why? Attitude is everything. And to me, the relentless part of it is just the next step. And that's where we're going. I'm very proud of our kids, the way they're playing. Yes,
same here. That you're right, that the attitude is everything, and it shows, and it's really coming through in this season. Staying on the offense, the things we saw last night, you probably saw it and could probably start to get it in your mind as a coach. With the game that Pulte had the first week, they keyed on him very hard last night to try to shut him down. He still managed to get a touchdown, but they keyed on him really hard last night, which then opened up the field for Mark Fulkerson to see some work. And we saw that relationship. We saw a lot of that relationship between Caleb and Mark Fulkerson last year. Didn't see it in the Castleberry scrimmage. Didn't see it in the last week against McGregor. But you started to see that light up a little bit this year. Can you go on that a little bit?
You bet. When you got Nathan Orozco in there at receiver, and you got Pulte in there, and you got Fulkerson in there, and you got Isaiah Hall working in there. I don't know if you really saw it last night or not. We missed some 5 wides last night. We actually put Brandon Forrest out there as wide receiver also. So, which one are you going to stop? Because they're all good athletes. They're all good. They're all good football players. Caleb did a good job of finding the right ones, picking the right ones. A lot of those calls last night was truly, especially when we went with the 23 formation, the 5 wides. It was all automatics. Caleb had his choice of who he wanted to throw to or even run the football. So proud of that. Proud of those receivers, because which one do you want to stop? You want to stop Pulte? Ferguson's out there. You want to stop Ferguson and Pulte? You got Orozco out there. And like I said a while ago, all those kids are returning starters. You mature but by having that playing time, and those kids have playing time. They're all returning starters. Good football players for us, and that's really the key to our offense right now, because that's able to take some of the pressure off the offensive line and letting those kids grow and get the reps as well.
Yes. And I just briefly touched on Pulte they tried to lock him up a little bit and found his way through. And we're going to get to Mark Fulkerson in a second. I want to just take a second, highlight Orozco. 2 years ago, even maybe last year, a kid that might drop a ball or a couple of critical balls that could have ended up in scores or getting the Bullfrogs a little more momentum. He fought back from that. And I know there's some off-the-field things that he's dealing with as well, and he still maintained focus to come back last night and still had an interception on the defensive side, and he started catching balls down the field, and really found the thing that really stuck out for me was Caleb flowing to the right. That play, he rolled out to the right-hand side. You had 5 wide. Orozco's coming over the middle. I knew well that was a drag over the middle, but he changed that drag into kind of a soft post to find the open spot, and you can kind of see the receivers maturing in that quarterback relationship, knowing that the quarterback seeing where the open area is and the receiver working to get there. That specifically stuck out to me, and I could see that. And see that relationship building from them.
Sure, and again, going back to this last spring, 2 springs ago. First of all, 3 springs ago when I got here, We didn't know the kids. They got hired late. We didn't have much of a 7-on-7. We tried. We did the best we could, but we didn't have a real good 7-on-7 situation there with our kiddos. Then 2 years ago, our second year here, we were just a player or two away from going to the state 7-on-7 championships. So I was very, very proud of that team. 2 years ago, I think we're overall for the summer we were 22-2 and 1 or something like that. 20-0, I don't know, but we won over 20 ball games that summer. Coming back this year, you've got Caleb returning as your starter, and you got these good wide receivers. So again, you're wanting a good spring. You're wanting a great 7-on-7. Let's go qualify for the state championship 7-on-7. We didn't get to play. So what you're saying is right. Those kids, they're finding the hole, they're finding the voids, and at the same time, I give kudos to our coaching staff, Coach Raines and Coach Reed and Coach Fursick, for teaching those guys how to attack the defense. Where are those voids? Where are the open spots? And the kids are listening and doing a good job picking that up. So I know the play you're talking about last night, it was a crucial play. I think that was on a third down, and he hit him coming across the middle, and again, Orozco knew he was going to get hit, and he caught the ball, and those kids are tough. Fulkerson and Pulte and Orozco, they're not the biggest cats. They're not like the Wellborn kid was last night, but they're tough nuts, and I'm really proud of those youngsters.
Oh, yes. And, now to sum up that, we'll get to Caleb at the end of the offense, but to go further on the offense, what a game last night Mark Fulkerson had with being able to get deep. I know Caleb, I watched specifically during the scrimmage against Castleberry and then during the game against McGregor, and you can see just the rust that is there from not being able to get all the practice that we need to get that timing down. Caleb and Mark Fulkerson just really couldn't get on that same page during the scrimmage and during the last week's game. But you saw that come together and saw that work come together this week as Caleb was able to air the ball out right perfectly for Mark Fulkerson to catch it in stride several times and just take it to the house. It's just showing me that they're working, and trial by fire as you go, as the saying goes. But Mark Fulkerson stepping up and being able to make those routes and give Caleb a great option downfield.
Well, and you're right, but again, it goes back to I think what we were talking about a while ago as far as just getting the reps, getting the playing time, getting that camaraderie of knowing where you're going to be, how fast you are on those routes, etc. Sometimes in practice is we've had some hot days, so you get out there and practice. You're split between offense and defense. You've got an hour of defense, you've got an hour of offense, and sometimes if you've been on defense first, you come over to offense a little bit tired. So maybe you're not running those routes quite as sharp and quite as fast, but when you get in a ball game, you got that adrenaline going. You got the band up there playing. Kudos to Mr. Kading last night. He took a partial band to the game. It wasn't our full band, and I told him after the game, I said, our band was louder on the field than theirs was, and theirs was a full band over there. So I took a sidetrack there, but kudos to Mr. Kading and the band did a great job last night. But getting back to it, we had a short preseason, not having the two scrimmages, no spring, very little summer. Our summer was limited also because we could only have throw and catch type drills there in June. There was no one-on-ones, there was no team stuff as far as going against the defense. So we're having to put this stuff in on the go, and it might not be as sharp, it might not be as crisp as what you want 3, 4, 5 weeks into the season, but our kids are doing well. They're working hard, they're getting focused, and we are getting those timing routes down like you're talking about.
Yes, and it's looking good, Coach. It's getting there. And one thing I want to point out before we're kind of going into Caleb, I want to say that offensive line last night, it just out of nowhere. I mean, it just seems like they're solidifying, seeing each other, helping cover those gaps. Caleb had some good timing last night. I didn't keep up with the sacks. It's not something I really keep up with, but I think it was close to 1, maybe 1.5 that they ended up getting on him. But you saw Caleb last night have time to move, to be able to read, and to be able to set that up, and that's a big kudos to the offensive line.
talking about an offensive line, a lot of folks really might not understand this. First of all, let's go back to what I said a while ago. You got a starting center. It's a sophomore. And was not a center last year. This is his first year at center. So realistically, he's had a scrimmage in the game, and that's it. And Matthew Welch doing a tremendous job in there. Only returning one starter, which is Ronnie Cedars, our left guard. Hogan got a little time last year at left tackle. But the kids are fighting hard. They're playing hard, and playing offensive line is like a glove. If I held the glove up right here and I turned that glove right or left, all 5 fingers are going the same way. They've got to be unified. They've got to understand each other. They've got to understand those calls. And to have a sophomore center who's making the calls, who's making the slide protections, and then Brandon Forrest last night stepping up and helping block off the backside edge, we are getting better and we are maturing. And it just shows how that group of kids are developing that relentless mentality of not getting tired, of not working hard. Had a young man last night who was a sophomore. He came off and his groin was hurting a little bit. He had a little problem in his lower waist. We went in at halftime and he could hardly even pick up one of his legs. And he came out second half and had a tremendous second half. And I said, what happened? What was the deal? He said, Coach, I stayed focused. I said, where's the pain? Where's the pain? He said, it went away. And oftentimes, for a youngster who has that pain, a lot of folks don't understand there's a difference between being injured and having a little pain, a little bruise there. So I was very, very proud of him stepping up. That's a mentality. It's a mode, and our offensive line is getting that mode. They're getting that confidence. They're getting that working together, I guess you'd say. At the same time, we tried to give Brian Neal a little bit of rest. He was going both ways on almost every team, offense, defense, special teams. We put Raul Alvarez in there at tight end, and I thought Raul really stepped up. He had a good focus week of practice, and it's his opportunity to play. A ready man don't have to get ready, and that's one of our sayings. We got a lot of sayings around here, but that's one of them. And I thought Raul took his opportunity in practice last week. I thought he got better, and he'll just continue getting better as well. So it's continue growing. So I thought our offensive line took a major step last night.
Yes, likewise. So now the last thing to cap off the offense, Caleb. I mean, I know people listen to the show and they hear me talk about Caleb a whole lot, but people just have to understand and see this. The young man, last night, I don't have all the stats, and we'll publish those later, but last night, from a pure quarterback standpoint, he had an excellent game. There was Caleb is a smart quarterback, and you see him a lot of times when he gets in trouble and the pocket closes around him. He's got to take down. He's got to take that slide just to help protect himself. But last night specifically, one thing I saw about Caleb, and I think it goes to your relentlessness that you're talking about, and he sees that we're down a little bit and he has to do something extra. The pocket's closing around him. The D ends are squeezing on him, and he steps up and looks for the pass, but sees that it's not there and continues to move forward to get a few extra yards to what he can. That says a lot about him being, I would consider, I don't know if you say the same thing, Caleb's really a Tom Brady-type pocket quarterback, a guy that sits there and reads the field, and you don't see a lot of running out of him. And last night, him taking that relentlessness and going forward because he's trying to help the team out says a lot about the kid. He aired the ball out really well last night, but to see bits and pieces of growth at him, you got to pay attention because the kid's grown and done a lot. But those things right there just shows you that he's still growing and making progress forward.
He is. I'm very proud of him. Of course, the sad part about it, Caleb's been going to a quarterback camp for quite a while and out in Abilene. And one of the things they say is Colonel Craig Flowers is one of the motivational speakers out there, and tremendous motivational speaker. But he talks about the number of Christmas trees you have. As your kids get older, as he's a freshman in high school, he's got 4 Christmas trees left. As he's a sophomore, he's got 3 Christmas trees left. Well, Caleb has 1 Christmas tree left with me and his mother, and we're 1/5 of the season already gone.
That's
and
it.
I'm very proud of the way he's playing. I'm proud of the way he works. He just stayed focused last night. He got in that work mode mentality. We run a trick play down there on the goal line. He comes up and he fakes the audible. We run a reverse over here trying to get him in the backside flat. They covered it. They covered it well. Pulte came on around instead of Pulte trying to force it. Pulte was going to run it. Well, Caleb blocked his rear off over there and tried to help Pulte get in the end zone. That's a selfless, relentless mentality, and that's kind of where Caleb is. He's not a real vocal young man. There's times where the media come in, and I ask Caleb to talk. He doesn't really like to talk. That's not really his aspect, and that's not really his strength. He's a workaholic, and he works. He strives. He wants to do well. Sometimes when I'm watching film and he may make a bad pass or a bad throw, you can see him kind of get onto himself. But he's not beating his head. He's not going to extremes. He knows what he did wrong, and he's playing well. He has dreams and aspirations of playing college football, and he's getting a lot of looks right now. And God's really blessing him and blessing us overall.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were mentioning that last night on the radio. I mean, every time there is a play that happens, and I can see it differently from up there, I always mention Caleb's going to watch that back, and Caleb's going to see where he can see something else. He's a self-reflection kid. He goes back and watches the work he does. He doesn't even pat himself for the good stuff. He looks only for the negative part, and he looks to build on that.
When I get home in the evenings, when I like this afternoon, when I get home from breaking down these films and getting ready for Western Hills next week, almost 100% of the time, Caleb is on the couch with my laptop going through the huddle plays and watching what he did. He's not just watching him; he's watching the routes, he's watching the coverages, and he's a student of the game. And I believe we had 6 college coaches there last night watching not only Sanger's kids but our kids. We've got some good young kids coming up. We've got a couple seniors right now who's wanting to play, and I think we had 6 college coaches there last night. So I got several texts and phone calls afterwards on the way home, and Caleb he wants to play. He's a student of the game, and I appreciate you noticing that, Joey, because he is trying to make that next step.
Oh, yeah. Now we're going to get on over to, I'd say it'd be the hard part, but to me it's not the hard part. It's the learning part, but also there's some good to pull out of it. Last night, looking at the film, and I mentioned this last night, looking at the film that we watched on Sanger, that quarterback, Smart, never threw the ball like that at all on film from what I saw. But last night I thought that our DBs really stepped up, although we did have a couple of long balls that ended up in a result for them. But still, overall, I think our secondary really helped shut down some of that passing that they could have opened up, because Wellborn, we know, will attract everybody on the defense to the line of scrimmage to try to stop him. And so I felt like our defensive backs came together a little bit better. There's still some improvement to do there. But the defensive backs compared to last year and even 2 years ago, I think you're seeing that still come together.
And let's go back to the spring. We didn't have in the spring. We didn't get all those reps. So we are maturing. When you game plan, for example, we went into last night's game plan. We go through all the formations and plays, and we see where we can attack somebody. It's kind of like the old game of Battleship, where you try to find that end. How can you attack them and beat them? Well, coming into our game last night, I'm sure they saw from the week before McGregor throwing the ball on us a little bit, and they were going to attack us deep. We knew that. That's kind of their go-to. On the night before with the freshman JV, they just threw the ball up. And I don't care how good you are. I don't care if it's NFL, Division I or Division II. It's tough when you're running full speed down the field and that guy's able to stop and come back or get the back shoulder fades. It's tough to always cover those guys. So we knew that they were going to try to do that. And then they have Sanger does a great job of that screen game. Now, they threw it one time last night. The running back was 2 yards across the field, and that's why I ended up getting the penalty, because I thought I can't say things on the radio, can I? But I got a penalty for what I said to the officials, and I think right after I got the penalty, the very next play they get a penalty. So I thought that's a makeup call. But we knew they were going to attack us in the secondary, and we did take a step last night. But again, we've got to continue. We can't rest on those laurels. We're going to watch film. The kids right now. The kids are in the weight room getting their weights. Then we'll go out and do our jogging, get that blood flowing, try to get the lactic acid out, and then we'll go in there and put our masks on and watch the film. And we've got to watch the film with intensity. We've got to see where we improved and what we continue doing. Oftentimes when you get in the film room or you get in that coaching field, oftentimes you don't always say, hey, that's a great job right there. You want to point out the negative. And it's tough to do as a youngster, just hear that negative over and over and over. But our kids are understanding. Our kids are wanting to grow. They're wanting to mature. We're wanting to get better as a football team. I think we are. And bottom line, you started this segment right here by saying we got better in the secondary last night, and we did. So it was tough because you've got the Wellborn kid who's such a hard runner, the old Franco Harris type of a guy that you go up there and hit him, especially as defensive back. Most defensive backs aren't real big, but you go up there and hit him, he's 240 pounds, and he's a man-child. So they play action and get those guys deep on you, and you're out there running. So I think we're getting better in secondary wise, rotating several kids back there, and if we did have the interception last night by Roscoe, I was proud to see that.
Oh yeah, it was great focus by Roscoe. Now I believe it was special teams. I believe you saw that right after that. I think there was a penalty that was thrown. I imagine that was the one that you were yelling about because I know you're passionate. I know that when it comes to safety football, now, for all those of you that are out there listening or watching on Facebook or YouTube, we have a habit, guys, I'd say our age, as we are, when you see hits like that, when you see a kid get knocked off his feet, the old saying is, it's football. It's football. That's what we were to. But the safety of football is coming back to trying to protect these kids and try to preserve the sport and protect the sport. And last night, that crack back, that coming back to the play in that D cleat, I saw you explode on the sidelines. We mentioned, I knew what the penalty was for. You looking for a conference from the White Hat to figure out what's going on, and he wouldn't even acknowledge you.
In pregame, they always tell you, and I got to be careful what I say here because I don't want to get in trouble with UIL or officials or nobody else. And don't get me wrong, they're human beings just like we are. We all make mistakes and so forth and so on. There was just some blocks or some things that happened, like you're talking about right there, that was away from my sideline. It was more on their sideline. And I just really thought that we needed to have our eyes open a little better and be able to see things that was going on over there and not overlook things. I thought early in the ball game, the very first drive, matter of fact, they almost took the jersey off of Exauce, our defensive end. Exauce had a clean shot at the quarterback. They grabbed their jersey. Almost pulled his jersey off. That upset me. They go down and scored the field goal. We thought we tipped the ball, and on film you can see the ball coming off the tee, and all of a sudden it veers to the right. But they call us for roughing the kicker. If you touch the football, it's a block kick. You can hit its kicker all you want. I was upset about that. The very next time we go down and score, they hit our kicker, and they don't get the call for that. We get the blindside block you're talking about last night. That could have hurt that youngster. Their kicker is not a real stable situation over there at Singer. They kicked one last night. Our kid kind of bobbled it, and then we had a really late hit out of bounds over there. So those are the things that and then we had the screen pass 2 yards across the line of scrimmage that I thought should have been called. So those are the kind of things that build up. You want to take care of your kids. You want to help your kids. But you brought up special teams. Let's talk about special teams. I thought our kicker last night, Polito, made a big step. Still breaking down the film, but our goal is to keep the opposing return team on the 25-yard line or less. And we did a much, much better job of that last night. I think two weeks ago against McGregor, our kickoff team did a good job, but I think Polito worked hard this last week on placing his balls, and I think he did a good job last night with that. He was perfect on extra points, which made a major step from the week before. He was taken to he's a newbie to us. He's a youngster, and we were taking too long on between the snap and the kick from 2 weeks ago. We worked hard on it this week. When that holder's hand comes off the tee, we got to trigger and be ready to go. And I thought he made a major step in that and made all of his extra points.
Yeah.
So we're getting better.
So other than the block that he had last week, I think he's still 100% from point after.
I think so.
Other than the block, so that's a big deal because we know last year we had a field goal kicker that was just phenomenal, and we saw that out of nowhere. Tell me a little bit about Polito, where he came from.
You might see him again. Polito was with us last year. He was our JV kicker, and did a good job for us. And he's been here. He plays soccer, and does a good job. Works hard every day. Probably one of the biggest things that's helped us is we've had a coach by the name of Robert Alvarez, and Coach Alvarez really likes coaching kickers. Now he helps us with our sub-varsity's offensive line. He helps Coach Posey's offensive line, but he helps coach our kickers, and really does. He's doing a good job for us in that role.
All right. Well, hey, let's talk about what we have coming up this week. This week we have Western Hills at home. We're going to get a double dose of football here at the home stadium as we have JV now on Thursday night starting at 6 p.m.
You got the email, huh?
I got the email. JV starting at 6 p.m. on Thursday night, so come out and support them. But also Friday night starting at 7 p.m. we have the Western Hills game. We know Western Hills. We've seen Western Hills. What's your take on that leading into this week?
First of all, let's talk about the sub-varsities right fast, because normally when your varsity's at home and your sub-varsity's away. Coach Moreland called me about 2 weeks ago and said, Coach, it'd be much easier on us if you don't mind playing the JV at your place. He does not have enough kids for freshman and JV, so all his kids are playing JV, which really goes to show you how proud I am of our kids and our coaches for having a freshman and JV team. So I'm very proud of that. So with him only having one team, we were going to play his JV with our JV. Our freshmen are going to Mineral Wells. We had to move that game from 5:30 to 5 because Mineral Wells has a JV game at 6:30. So if you're a freshman parent, make sure that you know that time change. The game is at 5 at Mineral Wells for our freshmen. JV is here, 6 o'clock. Very excited about that. And again, we'll get out the ticket information for Mineral Wells to see how they're going to do it. Buying your sub-varsity tickets here. Make sure you go to Hometown Tickets on the Lake Worth ISD website and get your sub-varsity tickets. Now, getting into what you asked about Western Hills varsity, they're playing hard. I watched their scrimmage. I have not watched their game from last night yet. I know West got after them pretty good offensively, so we'll have to see about that. But you know, Western Hills was in our district last 2 years, and I told the kids last night after the game because we got after them pretty good last year. We got after them. I don't remember the score, to be honest with you, 50-something to 7. I don't know. So we got after them pretty good, but you know, we have an old saying. I'm one of those older guys who kind of understands things and so forth. But the old saying is the bull don't care what happened yesterday. And what does that mean? You might be Ty Murray who rode that bull yesterday, but that bull forgot. That bull's already forgot that you rode him yesterday. That bull's going to try to throw you off again today. Western Hills, they don't remember last year's game. This is a whole new set of kids. And for Lake Worth, this is a whole new set of kids that they're playing. So we know that they're going to be coming in here. They're going to be motivated. They're going to be fired up, wanting to get after us. They're going to game plan and try to see where we're vulnerable. Coach Moreland does a good job with his kids. He's a good man. Got a good coaching staff over there. So we've got to be prepared. We've got to have a great week of practice. This coming Monday is a holiday. We will practice. We'll go from 9 to 12. Parents, if you're listening to this, all your kids will know because we've told them. So we will practice this coming Monday from 9 to 12, getting ourselves ready for Western Hills and putting ourselves get back in that winning role right here.
Perfect. Well, guys, you heard it. You heard it here live. The Tracy Welch Coaches Show. Hey. This Friday night, well, let's back up. This Thursday night, 6 p.m., come watch the JV. Come support them. You can go on the Lake Worth ISD's website. Go there and find the hometown ticket link. Buy your tickets there. Show up. Come support JV on Thursday night, as well as show up Friday night at 7 p.m. for the kickoff as Lake Worth hosts Western Hill Cougars. Hey, for Tracy Welch, I'm Joey Wilcoxon. Let's go Bullfrogs.
Thank you, Joey.